And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is the great Dee Wallace, acclaimed actress best known for her iconic roles in films like E.T., Cujo, and Critters. She's also an author, renowned spiritual teacher, empowering individuals to transform their lives through conscious creation and self-love. Dee, welcome back. It's great to have you again.
It's great to be here with you, baby.
Well, Dee, I want to start by unpacking self-love. And I want to know, how do you define it? Because it may be more nuanced than we really think it is. And is it really more all about self-understanding and self-compassion?
Well, I think it includes all of that. Sure. The challenge that we all have around self-love is most of us are taught it's not okay. Most of us are taught that that's blasphemous, and we're full of ourselves and people will judge us. And those are false teachings. You know, who do we want to give everything to? The people we love. We need to be first on that list, because the more we fill ourselves up and love ourselves, the more all other energy can respond to that.
Well, do you think that it's possible some people who have a lot of self-love can be perceived as a narcissist?
I think it's a confusion of definitions. You know, a person who truly loves himself knows that they're complete. They know that they're enough. They know that whatever they put out affects the world and the people around them. A narcissist comes from not knowing those things. You know, in grade school, we called narcissists bullies, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm the one that's important and you're not important, and I'm going to tell you what to do. And, you know, that's not self-love. Self-love is when you are so peaceful within yourself and know that you're enough, that you trust the rest of the world to see that, and you trust them to create themselves. Because bottom line, nobody can create for another person. So you can try to control them. You can try to tell them what to do. You can try to bully them. But in the final analysis, everyone must create themselves. Everybody. And that's what I teach.
Do you...
If you want to get what you want in the world, you want to put out to the world an energy that the world wants to respond to.
Do you feel that the lack of self-love is mostly due to the environment we are raised in, you know, the familial environment, or is it more about comparing ourselves to others?
Well, yeah, but you don't come in as a baby comparing yourself to other babies.
Yeah.
We're taught these things. You know, we're taught them in society, definitely taught them in church. You know, it never made any sense to me that people who say they're God-fearing people, and the first thing you're taught in Bible school is God is love. And then they turn around and judge everybody else. And the first commandment, I believe, is judge not. So I don't understand how you can define loving yourself while you are in judgment of everybody else. It's an oxymoron. That doesn't feed you. That doesn't make you feel good. We are taught to do that so that other people can control us. You know, in the good book, it says about miracles, these miracles and more will you do also. But then you turn the good book over to people who want to have control over everyone else, like kings. And back in the day, the Catholic Church, they wanted the land, you know, they wanted power over everyone. And so they began teaching us that the only way we could have power is through somebody else. And that's a belief that's been passed down and passed down and passed down through eons. And again, you are the only one that can create you. Nobody can think a thought for you. Nobody can feel a feeling for you. Nobody can hold the belief for you that you don't want. That makes us the creative force of our own lives. And the more we accept responsibility for that, the more we create everything we want.
Do you think that this could also be more about realistically accepting who we are besides our flaws and our failures in life, but developing resilience?
But you see, just in that question, there's judgment. Because you can't define yourself as a failure or not accomplishing what you want. You don't define yourself in that way, because how you define yourself creates who you are. Look, we learned in 5th grade, everything is energy. Everything. Energy must be directed to take physical form. So every time you get up in the morning and you go, oh, I'm so tired, your body goes, okay, I'll give you more tired. Because the energy doesn't judge. That's not its place. Energy's job is to take the direction you give it. And it doesn't take very long. It's just like going to dance class. You have to train your brain muscle to default to the positive statements and beliefs that you want, not the false, scary, guilt-ridden ones that most of us have been raised with. You know, when E.T. came out, I had made more money than I thought I would ever make. And I was a household word, and everybody wanted to talk to me. And I felt myself getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I stopped and, what the heck is going on? I'm getting everything I want. And I heard my grandmother's voice say, they're the rich people. We're the good people. And I thought, oh my God, I'm becoming one of them. I don't want to be them. And then I thought, wait a minute, I don't believe that. That's not my belief. That was Grandma's belief. I don't want that belief. That doesn't serve me. I know that money has no consciousness of its own. My consciousness decides what my money does in this world. So I decided I'm just going to love money, because I know I'm going to take care of my family, give it to pet shelters and save the children and things that are important to me, I'm going to consciously handle my money. You know, when I go out to speak, I'll take a big pile of money and I'll put it on the floor and I'll say, okay, I want everybody in this room to watch this money over the next 2 hours. Watch all the bad shit it does. And of course, everybody starts laughing, right? But subconsciously, we live in fear of that from the belief systems. That's what they call sins of the fathers, you know. And the way my channel explains it is a belief is passed down, and then that generation carries out that belief, and then it's passed down some more, and that generation carries out that belief. And pretty soon you have what we all call karma. But really, it's just acknowledging other people's teachings and beliefs that you don't want.
I know I've had lots of ups and downs in my life, as I'm assuming many people have. And when I'm in these, and when I'm in a downward time in my life, how do I figure out these unconscious beliefs that I can kind of make changes? You know, how do we discover these beliefs?
Easy. That's easy. You go, all right, let's just pick one thing. Let's pick money. Okay. If you don't have enough money, you know you want more, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So our brains are locked into our belief systems by 8 years old. That's brain science. So whatever you were taught from conception to 8 years old, whatever you were verbally taught or whatever was modeled in front of you, your brain said that's the way the world works. So if you're working on money, go back and write out all the limiting beliefs, like my grandmother's. They're the rich people, we're the good people, right? Or money doesn't grow on trees. Who didn't hear that growing up? Or, Dee Dee, you can't have everything you want. Pick one thing. I mean, limitation after limitation after limitation is what we're taught. What we want to retrain ourselves and our little child, because your little child runs the show. Your little child who learned all these limiting beliefs are trying to keep you safe, they think, by telling you to hold back and be smaller. That'll keep you safe. But what our little children are doing is living out a belief system within us that does not match what we want. And so the more you can love them and retrain your little child to be on board with what you want to believe, then you become one integrated whole working together to create what you want. I'm telling you, people, well, an example is I see a homeless person, I stop and I give them something. Now, I get a lot of gaff from a lot of people about that. And I just smile and I go, you know, it wasn't their moment, it was my moment. It was my moment to go, yeah, Dee, you have so much. Love yourself and share it. It always comes back to me, Jeff. Always.
What other practical exercises do you have? Like, for example, I had one guest tell me every morning, get up and look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and tell yourself 10 times that you deeply love yourself. basically.
Sure. That's a nice practice. Unless you get up and do it, and 3 hours later, you're reaming somebody out there for something. You know, again, it's a muscle that we have to retrain and practice daily throughout the day. I'll tell you, if you get really hooked into a situation, the fastest way to get your balance back so that you can choose love is just start laughing. You can't, you can't, you can't hate somebody while you're happy and laughing. You know, you can't remain in judgment while you're happy and laughing. And again, you have to choose to do that. You have to go, well, I'm in the toilet here. You know, this is not where I want to be. This is not going to get me what I want. All right, let me laugh for a few minutes. Okay, great. Now I got my balance back. What do I want? I want to love money. I want lots of money to bless me. I am the creator of lots of money that I can take with love and do amazing things in this world with.
Do you feel that it's important while you are doing those type of affirmations that you make yourself feel joy or tremendous joy? It
I
somehow
tell
raises the energy.
Yeah, I teach everyone to find their love place, which is anything you think of that puts a smile on your face and opens your heart. So everybody finds your love place. Can be your doggy, your kitty cat, your grandson, which is where mine is right now, a beautiful place in nature. Okay, so go to your love place. That's what money feels like. Yeah, universe, create that with me now through love. According to my channel, love is the most powerful creation tool we have. We keep thinking of it as this namby-pamby little soft, mushy, oh, isn't it nice if he loves me kind of thing. In essence, it is a force. And when you use it in your creation process, creation is easier and faster.
You know, I just thought about how some of my guests who've had near-death experiences end up writing books about it. And when they do mention the book in the interview, you will see comments like, why, this guest is, trying to make money off this book, or why are they monetizing this experience? And so maybe that's a big time limiting belief that all the people in the audience have.
Exactly. That's why teachers are some of the poorest paid people in America. To me, that's sinful. The people that we're giving our children to help mold them and teach them are paid less than a basketball player. Because if you're a good person, you don't have money. It's BS. It's a false belief system that we have to get over. I'll tell you, in my business, in the entertainment business, you can see so many people who have the belief that when they make it, they can't have a successful relationship. Now, that can come from a lot of places. That can come from, and this involves money too, a childhood where your father was always gone and never there with you because he needed to go out and make the money. Well, daddy's at work. He's making money for the family. Well, that can become, in a relationship, a negative belief. Oh, the people I love are gone and taken away from me because of money. That's how a child's brain can put it together.
I know this may be a little bit out there, but do you
Oh,
think
bring it on.
past lives can also give us some sort of limiting belief? Like, for example,
Of course.
if a person was super rich in a past life and was robbed and killed, so this time around he's afraid of being rich.
Yes. I absolutely, I know past lives exist. I do too much work in the healing arts to even question that anymore. And the important thing is, what the hell are you going to do with it in this life? You know, according to my channel, we choose the families we're born into. And usually to learn what we don't want, so that when we get older, we can be very clear about what we do want. My father was an alcoholic. I knew I never wanted to be in a relationship with a drinker. I wanted someone responsible, loving, caring, who respected me and respected themselves, so that we're equals coming together in the relationship. Look, guys, we've all got our stories about horrible things that happened to us when we're kids. My dad was an alcoholic. He committed suicide when I was in high school. My husband died at 55. My younger brother committed suicide after drinking himself to death. Anyway, 4 years ago. Everybody's got their crap. What are you doing with it? Are you learning from it and directing your life to go in the opposite positive way? Or are you allowing yourself, and I want you to hear this, to use your limitations to be less than who you are? That's what makes the difference. Everybody has experienced sadness, anger, disloyalty. We've all experienced the negatives. That's our opportunity to turn them into positives. That is loving yourself.
Is it possible that we create limitations to prevent us from being somebody who we don't like?
Well, yes, and just inherent in that question are a lot of negative teachings. So if I love me, why would I use my limitations not to give me what I want? It's an oxymoron. If you love someone, you give, you share. If you don't love yourself, or you're in fear that when you create something positive, like starring in the biggest blockbuster of all time, will make you a bad person, or something negative will happen to you because of that, you've got to turn that around. Otherwise, that's the definition of who you are for your entire life. Not what you want.
In what other ways did you have to process the success after ET?
Oh, I had so many people in interviews say, how did this change your life, Dee? And I would always answer, it didn't change my life. Changed my career, changed how people saw me in the business. But me, Dee, it didn't change me. It just gave me more opportunities to create who I was. I joke, Jeff, because I spent half of my life doing horror films and other films, but a lot of horror films. And the other half of my life healing people from fear and teaching them how to deal with it. Somehow those two worlds come together perfectly for me. It's interesting. You all should Google the positive effects of horror films. It's crazy. They're good for your brain. They're good for your nervous system. They teach you that you can cope and handle scary situations. That's why every Disney film has a bad, evil character. So kids can sit there with mommy and daddy and go, oh, I can do this. I'm in a safe place. I truly believe that's why most of us go to see these end of the world movies, because we're practicing dealing with our fear of the unknown of the future.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I feel like I kind of keep a pulse on the world by my videos. And in the old days, I could title a video about being all love and light and it would get lots of traffic. But those days seem to be gone. And now if the videos are much darker, that's what gets traffic. If you put love and light, no one's going to watch.
Well, there's a belief that I would turn around real fast, Jeff. That's why you see the political climate that we have right now, because people bought into the belief of bullying as power. But sooner or later, people do wake up and say, this is not the world we want, which makes them go, what do we want? And that's the first step in creation. You have to know what you want to create it. Otherwise, the universe goes, well, all right, let's say we have a conflicting belief. I really want more money, but I have a lot of beliefs that too much money's bad. And I shouldn't need that, and I for sure shouldn't want it. So what the universe hears is, I want more money, but don't bring it to me because I'm really confused. And then we wonder why we keep going around in circles and not creating what we want. I'll give you a good example. I did a convention a few months ago, and there was a person there. Oh, don't get your hopes up. We're not going to make any money here. This is a horrible convention and not many people can. And every time, and this went on all weekend, every time he would say negative, I would, in my mind and in my heart, go, oh, this is a great weekend. So many people are going to come and find me. They want what I have. They want to talk to me. I want to exchange love with them. I'm going to make $8,000 this weekend. You know how much I made, Jeff? 8,300.
Hey.
But I'm telling you, I do it and I live it and I see it. It works. It absolutely, just like a basketball player that keeps practicing how to drop it in that hoop. You keep practicing thinking positively with an open heart and love, you watch your life change. And it doesn't take very long. You know, there's a lot of free stuff on my website if people just want to get started learning about all this.
Can you share a personal moment when you felt like you truly gave birth to a new version of yourself?
Oh my God, so many. So many. I mean, okay, I was a high school teacher in Kansas. And I said, you know, I'm going to go to New York and be an actor. Everybody laughed at me. I'm telling you, everybody, not my mom, but everybody else. You don't know anybody. Nobody knows you. I said, thanks for sharing. Gonna go anyway. In less than 7 years, I starred in ET. I had 6 specialists tell me I'd never have a baby. Sorry, it's not possible, Dee. Thanks for sharing. Gonna have her anyway. Took me 6 years, but I got her, and she's given me a beautiful grandson. You know, people will try and limit you again to keep you safe from their fears. You've just got to go in your knowing and do it anyway.
I love that, what you just said. People try to limit you to keep themselves safe from their fears, right?
And to keep you safe. And that's what your little child within you is doing too. So you've got to be in charge. You know, people will call me on a private session and go, I don't know, I just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I said, well, that's the definition of doubt. Your heart never doubts. If you go to your heart, you will hear exactly what you want. If you go to your mind is made to question and doubt. So go to your heart and go, okay, what do I really want here? And then tell your brain, we're going to create this. Come on, universe. Let's work together and create this.
I think most people would say that the other person would have jealousy, but maybe it's not really about that. It's about their fear of you.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest core of all of it, because if you do it, then they've got to look at them not doing it, right? But people were genuinely, I had never been out of Kansas in my life. And they were genuinely afraid for me. Oh my God, you're going to New York City, the decadent capital of America, you know. I called my mom an hour after I was there. I said, oh my God, Mom, it's like Christmas every day here. Because, you know, in Kansas at Christmas, everybody comes out on the street and goes shopping, and there's hustle and bustle. Well, New York's like that all the time, and I loved it. I'm sure in a past life, I lived there. I just loved New York City. And I had to follow my knowing. And you would be surprised, the stronger through love that you stay in your knowing, the more other people and their fears kind of subside for you. But as long as you play the game of, Oh, maybe you shouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, maybe you shouldn't. Gee, maybe let me think about that. So maybe it's a game that'll go on forever. I knew I wanted that baby, and I knew I wanted to go to New York and be a successful actress. Do you know, I was sitting there getting ready to interview for a receptionist job so I would have some money coming in. And the director of the Stepford Wives was in the same building and he kept walking by looking at me. And he finally came over and he said, "Are you an actor?" I said, "I am." "You want to be in a movie?" I went, "Yeah, I do." I mean, that's unheard of in my business. Was it a small part? Yeah. Was it with three great female stars? Yeah. And a great credit to start out my resume, and I just took it from there. I met a guy at an audition, an open audition. He took me to a Halloween party. His agents were there, the top commercial agents in New York. At the end of the party, they said, "Hey, Dee, you want to come by our office Monday? We think we'd like to work with you." And I went, "Sure, what do you do?" I mean, I was so naive, but that's what drew people to me is I was so open and so Midwestern and so friendly. And I wasn't putting out a lot of fear like, "Well, I don't know. What do you do? Who are you? Are you the top agent?" No, it was like, "Sure, I want an agent," right? So I was with them for just a little time and I booked a United Airlines commercial. This is what I did. And I made $20,000. I was the friendship girl, which was a very good definition of who I was. But that's what I mean. We can't figure out how all of our good is going to come to us. There's no way that you can figure out the scenarios that the universe knows. Your job is to know exactly what you want and create it from love and partner with the universe. I'm telling you, the universe will create it better than you could ever imagine. Ever. I have so many stories to back that up.
Do you think that you should journal what you want or have a picture board?
Whatever works for you, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. You're saying what you want. So, like when people call to work on money, I go, "Well, okay, how much do you want to make a year?" And there's this big silence. They don't have a flipping clue. "Well, how much do you want to make a month?" Silence. "Well, I want to make 50 million in a year." Well, that's bull. You know, they know they're not going to do that. They don't believe it's possible. So they're being kind of a smart and saying what they don't believe is possible so that they can set it up for themselves that they can prove they can't do it.
Do you believe in pre-birth contracts or agreements? And if so, do you know what yours is?
Not at all. I don't believe in it. I think you absolutely come in with belief systems in your energy from past lives. And there is nothing that you cannot redirect consciously in this life. again, are we going to continue looking at belief systems that limit us and give us excuses? Or are we going to look at belief systems that go, no matter what went down the first 8 years of my life, I know I have the power, and I'm the only one that has the power to work with the universe and create what I want now. But if you don't accept that power, you might as well quit now.
Do you think that we reincarnate over and over by choice? And do we have options to go to other realms? Or what are your beliefs about the afterlife?
I think all there is energy. And we either choose or not choose. Usually it's both. Sometimes we choose and then we don't choose to come back into the physical form for some time. I think whatever realm your energy is on, you are learning and expanding always. The physical realm, we just get to do it in a more concrete. You can literally see what you create in your life in the physical realm. Just get up every morning and go, how can I? This is what I want. How can I? Instead of this is what I want, but, whenever you give yourself a but, you're canceling out what came before it. So I want to be an actress, but nobody knows who I am. Well, I had to know that I wanted to be a successful actress, which means I am a successful actress, before I went in to see Steven Spielberg and said, oh, please, I don't know if I'm an actor or not, but will you let me star in your movie? No. And the universe works the same way. So many people say to me, well, I'm waiting for the guides to tell me. I'm waiting for the angels to tell me what to do. Well, they're waiting for you guys. On this plane, we are put here to learn free will, to exercise free will, to see that we are the captains of our own ship. And the more we take responsibility for that, the happier and more fulfilled and more creative our lives are.
What if there was a person who wanted to be a successful actor or actress, and they've studied the craft, but they always feel like they're not good enough?
Well, they're the only ones that can turn that around. You see, if you keep saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, that sends the signal out to the universe. And the universe goes, okay, our job isn't to judge. We'd like you to feel I'm good enough. I was always good enough. But we can't do that for you. You have to do that for you, and then we can create with you. But if you keep saying I'm not good enough, that's all we can give you are experiences to match that. Which brings us back to self-love. If you love yourself, you don't keep saying I'm not good enough. So I get up every morning and I direct my day. Today is a great day, not going to be. Today is a great day. Today I'm whole and complete. I know and I'm sure. Today I create great health, great wealth, great success, and love in everything I do. Direct what you want.
We're using actors as an example, but we could do this with anything.
Anything.
Right. And so if we keep using actors, do you think that there are actors who believe that they're the best or amazing and more than good enough, but technically if you watch them, they're really not that good, but they're still super successful just because they believe they are?
Sure. And you can say that about
Yeah, anything.
anything, anybody. I mean, my dad was a salesman. He knew he was a great creative salesman. So he was very successful until he went to the war. And my mom said when he came back from the war, he was a broken man. And he used to say, what good is it to succeed when all this is happening in the world? See, it was instead of, I'm going to succeed so I can help make the world better, he used that as a reason to limit himself.
What makes your book, Born, different from books like The Secret?
It's simple. It's incredibly simple and purposefully written to be simple. There are a lot of books on healing that I read the first chapter and go, well, putting this down. Creation isn't hard, guys. It shouldn't be difficult to understand. You know, when I go out and speak, I jokingly say, God created the world in 7 days. How hard could it be? You know? And you know what you want. You hook it up with love. You say, I can and I am. Come on, universe, create this with me. And then you stay in your knowing. Pretty much, that's it. I mean, I go into detail in the book, like the 0 point, for example. Most people go into creating something trying to change or recreate something else. You want to start at the 0 point where all possibilities are and create from there. So I'm not creating having enough from not having enough. I'm creating having enough by living in the moment of loving money and feeling love around it and knowing that I'm doing great, great things with it. So you want to start from that neutral place when you create. Because when we fix things, our focus is on what needs to be fixed. And brain science will tell you whatever you focus on, you create more of.
A couple of times you mentioned that you are a channel. Would you say you're a trance channel? And are you channeling your higher self or some other being?
Look, it's all the same thing. I'm God, God's me. You know, somebody called into the show that I do on Sunday mornings a long time ago when all the work was new. And they said, who do you channel? And I said, I don't have a clue. Never asked. Let's ask. And the answer was all thought and all possibility. And I said, well, to me, that's God. oh, so you're going to say you channel God? I went, yeah. I mean, why not go to the top guy if you're going to channel, right? But if everything's energy, then the angels, the guides, God, and me, we're all the same. We're all energy playing out in different expressions.
How does it work for you?
You know, I'm clairaudient, which means I hear things. I work with a pendulum. There it is. Which you can use tarot cards. You can, you know, use stones. You can. They're all tools, like a telephone, to open up the channel. But my gift is to be able to look into a person's energy and tell them where their block is, how to redirect that. I can tell you what age it started at, with whom it started with. And I can tell you usually we go back to the ages of 3, mostly, and then 7. It's really interesting. This week, a lot of people that I've worked with privately have gone back to 2. But, you know, they've proven that even in the womb, babies pick up all the energy that's going on. They pick up belief systems, they pick up fears, you know.
I think they even pick up conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I used to play Claire de Lune, and I put the headphones on my belly when I was pregnant, and I guess Gabrielle was around 3 because she was talking pretty well, and I said, "Hey, I want you to listen to that song," and I put it on, and she went, "I don't like that song." I said, "What? Why don't you like this song?" "Too much, Mommy, too much." She'd heard it too damn much in the womb. She didn't want to ever hear it again. It was really eye-opening for me, you know. But every night when I was carrying her, every night when she was little, I knew the power of directing energy. And I would say to her, you know, you're loved and you're loving, you're wanted, you're calm, you're balanced. And I would go through all the attributes. And now she's doing it with Stone.
Have you ever seen a UFO or had any type of alien contact?
No,
Besides the movie, obviously.
no, but I know they're here, and I know that they're here to not protect us, but guide us. No, the channel doesn't like that word. Wow, really? Those are the highest words? They're here to create with us, but they can't interfere because we are all here to learn and practice self-creation. But Stephen got it really right with ET. They're good, and they're good energy, and they're here to love and help. And we've, because of our propensity for drama, we've made them the bad guys in so many movies, but that's not the truth.
Is there anything in the character of Mary that you would say is who you are?
Almost the whole thing. I mean, in retrospect, I wasn't conscious of basing Mary on my mom, but in retrospect, she was. My mom, because of my dad's drinking, was, for a lot of my life, a single mom, a strong single mom that held all the family together against all odds. And she was just pure love. And you see, I attracted a vehicle that speaks and teaches what I know. Keep your heart open. You get back to the home of who you are every time.
I'm going to ask you a question, and if you don't want to answer it, you can just say
Okay.
no, and I'll move on. All right. In preparing for today, I was researching you, and interestingly, some of the most recent news is about there was a scene in the movie that you didn't really feel comfortable with.
Look, and I'm glad you brought it up because it really pissed me off what the news cycles did with that. There's not a set in the world where a director and an actor don't talk about a scene. Well, I feel this way, or I feel that way, or, that's part of the creative process. And they spun it into, that Stephen and I were arguing, or it was a scene where he wanted the sheet down further than I wanted it. And so we ended up compromising and putting the sheet up a little further. But to make it a big thing about an actress vying against her director, I mean, that's the state of our world. How can we spin it to create more drama and judgment? It's not going to work for us, guys. Never did, never gonna. So that's my answer. It was a scene where a director and an actor were working together to bring about the highest truth that they could in that scene. That's what happened.
We have a mutual friend, Dan Harari.
Yeah.
And when he was on, he gave us a beautiful story about how you helped his wife during her pregnancy and how you sent over your acupuncturist at your expense when she was having difficulties.
Sure.
So I thought that was really
Yeah.
great of you.
Well, and isn't that what we should all do for our fellow man? If somebody's starving, you're going to walk by him. I'm not, because it's my moment. It was my moment that I could help serve. Making the experience of motherhood a little more positive for somebody. I think social media has unfortunately challenged our consciousness to remain positive. And again, the only reason that we all go to judgment is because it makes us feel better about ourselves.
After interviewing over 800 near-death experiencers, I've seen that the most common thing that someone gets from their life review is simple acts of kindness. Just the most simple, random acts of kindness mean more than anything else in life.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm at Starbucks, I buy gift cards to hand out to homeless people because I know they'll spend that on food for themselves as opposed to encouraging anyone to drink more, which I would never do because of my family experience. I'll get up in a restaurant and open a door if I see somebody's in a wheelchair. It's such, even a smile, to look at someone and smile and go, hi, hope you have a good day. It doesn't take anything, but it's that sharing moment of love and acknowledgement that sometimes can turn a person's whole day into a positive. And again, it's our moment. It's our moment.
Another thing that I've found fascinating from near-death experiences is that many of the people will say that when they're there, that place truly is home. And if we go to E.T. wants to go home, and if you look in many or listen to many songs, they're about going home. So I wonder if there's some sort of connection between that.
Well, sure. When you move back into all energy, you move back into all possibilities and peace, and it just is. So you move back into that place where there is no judgment. There is no comparison. There is no fear. There's only energy. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
My husband, Christopher, left his body before I met him and went up to the light, and he said, Dee, I've never felt more peace than I did in that moment. But I looked back at myself on the operating table and I went, yeah, but I think there's more I'm supposed to do. And bam, he was back in his body. But he said before he died, after he had his heart attack, nothing in me is afraid to go to the other side. It's only peace.
Yeah.
And I've shared that story with my daughter many times because she found him. I was in New Zealand doing the Frighteners.
What are the current projects that you're working on now?
Oh gosh, I have 5 films coming out, and I'm booked for 2 more by the end of September. Some of them light relationship films, some of them horror films. One of them is a kind of a suspense thriller. And I like that about my career. I like that I can go in and out of all genres and be very filled up creatively by all of them.
Have you seen that series Resident Alien?
Oh my God, I love it.
I do too. You know, it's
I love it.
I've-
He is so great.
Yeah, and funny enough, I was going to tell you that I was hoping that maybe one day you would show up in that series because I thought you'd be perfect for it.
I've got my agents on it. And Steven's company, Amblin, produces it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
So
you never know.
I've put it out to the universe.
Well, now that I've added it, maybe it will come through.
Yeah, thanks. Everybody write in. Say, want Dee Wallace on this show. Hey, they listen to that.
You know what I feel like that show is missing is a channeler. because they have so many different aspects of UFO stuff, and all they need is a character that like channels maybe somebody out, some ETs or some galactics out there that would, have some more input or helping the main character out. I think would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start talking to the universe, see what we can create there.
Do you know anything about Steven Spielberg's new movie about UFOs?
I don't. I'm sorry, I really don't.
I don't either. I just thought maybe I would ask.
I hope that it's a positive expression of who they are, but I really don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
He keeps things very close to, like when we shot E.T., it was called A Boy's Life. And you had to have a badge for security to get on the stage. And yeah.
Have you?
And rightfully so. A lot of ideas are stolen,
Have you ever seen The Mummy? That mummy E.T. from like Mexico or somewhere or Central America?
No.
Well, if you Google it, the interesting thing is that it looks like E.T. from the movie.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Carlo Rambaldi just did an amazing job. I remember the first time I walked on the set and I turned to the right and E.T. was standing there with three guys around him. They were talking about how he worked it. And I just stopped in my tracks. You could feel like this little alien had a consciousness and a soul just by looking at him. It was pretty amazing.
Was it like an animatronic or some sort of puppet from like the Jim Henson Company?
No, it wasn't like Jim. No, it wasn't run with rods and stuff. There were actually people in the suit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And we had a mime, a beautiful mimist that did all the hands and arm work, and
That's pretty cool.
lot went into, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what else are you working on that you want people to know about?
Oh my goodness. Just, I never know when these films are coming out. Look for them. I try and announce everything on social media, although I keep my social media really positive. Not interested in, oh, look, this is what I had for lunch. So, all of these films, including, there's a series that the Duffer Brothers have done called The Burrows, and I help open that series. I think I know there's some amazing performances there. A lot of really great established actors in there.
Well, what about the Conscious Creation radio show? How do people tune into that?
Well, again, go to my website, iamdeewallace.com. On the homepage, it will tell you how to call in. It's 9 a.m. Sunday mornings, Pacific time. And you can call in and ask the channel any question you want. Guidance about money or health or relationships or anything. Yeah.
I was checking out your YouTube channel, and it looks like that you post the show after like a week or so later.
I do, yes.
Is there a favorite show on your channel that you think, for anybody to go check out?
I just finished, I think, my 900th
Wow.
show. They're all amazing. If you start at the beginning, you literally can see us being taught more and more and more of the creation process. I'm getting ready. My next webinar is on the vagus nerve. The channel told me to do this, and the more I study the vagus nerve, the more I understand why. Because whatever your belief systems are, the vagus nerve travels that into your body. Your body's the first universe, right, that takes the direction. You see, they're not affirmations, guys. They're directions of energy. So you can say for years, you know, I did. I was on a treadmill and I'd say, I'm a successful working actress. I'm a successful working actress. And the only thing that changed was my butt, because I was saying the words, but I didn't believe it. I was hoping. So I don't want you to hope and keep saying affirmations. I want you to move into your power of the God that you are, the creative force that you are, and direct through love the energy that will create with you.
Before we wrap it up, can you give us one more positive message?
Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself more. That's really what it's all about. The more you love you, the more you love everything in your life. And the more you love it, the more you create it. Whatever you want, love it more.
Dee, thank you for your message, and thank you for coming back and being my guest again.
Look, it's been a great interview, Jeff. It's really been a great questions, you know, where we could really talk about substantial things. So thank you for that. I'm greatly appreciative of those good questions.
Well, thank you, and the pleasure was all mine.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.